And good Friday evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Priscilla Casper. We begin with remembering Michael Garbo, the DEA special agent who was killed on Monday at the Amtrak shooting in downtown Tucson. A procession and memorial service was held today at Calvary Chapel on the east side. Those services were open to the public. And News 4 Tucson's Sean Mooney has been out there since this morning with Eric Fink. And Sean, it was just a beautiful memorial.
It really was just a spectacular memorial with full honors, Priscilla, and capacity crowd inside of about 2,400 people. There were many more out here who just wanted to be here, and also so many people from different law enforcement agencies and departments, not just from the city and the state and the country. We even heard that we had some of these people coming from around the world to attend this. And many people took to the stage here that was in this church, and they had a lot to say about Mike Garbo. And I'm going to bring in Eric Fink right now. And Eric, really, we just heard some amazing words about this man.
It really was something quite touching, Sean. 2,400 seats in Calvary Chapel. Every one of them was filled. And from Mike Garbo's family to his law enforcement family to colleagues around the country and around the world, as Sean mentioned, they are all coming together today to pay tribute and honor a man who dedicated his life to service. More than 2,000 dear friends and beloved colleagues honored 51-year-old Special Agent Mike Garbo Friday with love and gratitude.
One of Mike's teammates in Afghanistan told me, "We sweated together, we froze together, we lived together, and we worked together." He added, "I loved Mike like a brother. If Mike had called me and asked me to walk across the country to change a flat tire, I would have been there."
Tucson Police Chief Chris Magnus said this community benefited from Garbo's service in ways that will never be fully known.
Mike's colleagues, the law enforcement community, and all residents of Greater Tucson benefited from Mike's service in ways that will never be fully known or fully appreciated.
Hero, warrior, leader, mentor. He was the one everyone turned to for help.
He leaves behind his wife, Veda. They met in college, and his pride and joy, his daughter, Alexis.
Alexis, your dad always looked forward to taking you on trips everywhere, from Phoenix to San Diego to your concerts. Your dad was so proud of you and bragged every chance he got. Everything he did was for you and your mom. All he wanted to see you both happy and successful.
And watching today, you couldn't help but notice just how many lives Mike Garbo touched, and there were many, and in a number of places as well. In fact, one colleague said at one time that you'd go to anywhere else in the country for a conference, for a meeting, be it Orlando, Kansas City, San Francisco. You'd bring up Tucson, and the other person would mention, "Oh, Tucson. You know Mike Garbo?" Quite a teammate, quite an inspiration, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely. And we continue to hear what a professional he was as a law enforcement officer, a member of the Counter Narcotics Alliance. They combated drug trafficking here in the sector in southern Arizona. And Ann Milgram, who we heard speak there, mentioned how he was always first in. But as we're about to find out from Lupita Murillo, they loved him for a lot more than that. Lupita.
Sean, TPD Sergeant Jesse Chamberlain worked with Mike Garbo at CNA, and he says the team was broken and that they could not believe what was happening. But he says as a team, they were going to come together and they would get through this. The team also talked about how much Mike loved his family and his community. Sergeant David Ortiz says that Mike taught them the importance of networking.
Mike, you were tragically taken from us. That will never go away. Part of us died there on that train station that day. But we all knew that outlaws use the train, and that regardless of what many may think about guns, money, and drugs, Mike said that amongst these outlaws are unidentified murderers, bank robbers, and violent gang members that needed to be stopped.
Mike will be remembered as a hero. May he rest in peace. Priscilla, back to you.
Thank you, Lupita. Now, Garbo started with the DEA in 2005, but his colleagues say he ran towards the danger long before that. Here's News 4 Tucson's Nicole Constantino.
The outpour of love and condolences show Special Agent Garbo was well loved here in Arizona, and we're taking a look back on his life and the impacts he had across the country.
We're starting to see a whole lot more drug organizations pop up in Nashville.
Michael Garbo spent 16 years with the DEA. Prior to joining in 2005, he was a police officer in Nashville. His colleagues say he was a key player in stopping crime in Middle Tennessee.
Pretty much think Mike was probably a natural when it comes to law enforcement.
Terry Burnett, a retired Nashville officer, was with Garbo at an armed robbery on May 14th, 1998.
Long story short, my dog and I started the track, and as we went into the woods there was one suspect inside the wood line that we couldn't see.
Terry says the suspect opened fire and hit him in the foot. His canine broke free, but he says Garbo didn't hesitate, going after the suspect with another officer.
Mike knew the risk going in there, knew that he had already shot one police officer, knew that he had already shot and killed a police dog.
The National Criminal Enforcement Association, a nonprofit of officers who specialize in criminal interdiction, says Garbo was a founding member. The organization posted to its Facebook page saying in part, "We are proud of his actions and hold him up in the highest regard. Garbo's motivation and dedication should serve as a constant reminder of how we all should strive to fulfill our commitments as law enforcement officers and members of the National Criminal Enforcement Association."
I can't express to you the shock that I had last night when I found out.
Retired Nashville officer Steve Antle also worked with Garbo.
He fell into the work naturally, and I know that he loved every minute of it.
Something that's proven universal since Garbo's passing. He was loved and will be missed by all.
A day that'll haunt me, and then another thing that'll haunt me is yesterday when I got the call and found out that he had been murdered.
For those acts of heroism in 1998, he was given a national recognition by former President Bill Clinton. On the east side, Nicole Constantino, News 4, Tucson.
U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland met privately with Garbo's family yesterday during his visit in Tucson. Garland also visited with the DEA agent and Tucson police officer injured in Monday's incident on behalf of the entire Justice Department.